The word reward is big for me, like big effort equals big reward with photography. So everyone can walk a day somewhere and go to all the normal tourist spots, but the multi-day hiking for me just allows me to get further into that landscape that we're talking about and get to places that not many people go to. Generally, Mother Nature looks after you and gives you something good each day with the light or the location. So to me, multi-day is just that complete package of getting out and doing landscape as opposed to just, walking for a day and getting the same shots that everyone else gets. Just bringing those memories back. It's one of the big reasons I started doing the multi-day tours I do is that a lot of people I'd come back from these walks and they're like, oh, how did you do that photo? Or what settings did you use for that? Or what lens or whatever? It's being able to bring those remote places back to people that might not ever go there. I think from a young age, I was just drawn to that, going out bushwalking, whatever it might be, and bushwalking just turned into having a camera, and then the photography just turned into adventures, and everything sort of came together that way. I think it's the isolation for me. Get away from it all, get out into the wilderness, take your camera, and just walk places and tracks where not many people go. And you look around and it's just endless mountains or endless coastline and there's no one there. Footwear for me is very important. I was actually born with club feet, so I was born with some really bad ankles to start with. So I've had lots of operations in my early years getting them all fixed up. You're walking on uneven ground a lot and you don't want to be rolling ankles out in the middle of nowhere. So footwear is probably my number one. So my goal when I go out there is to try and create an image that people will stop and look at. It's one thing I really try and switch off when you go out on your own is try not to rush shots or try not to force the photos you want to take, just let it sort of come to you and let the light come to you. So it's a blessing and a curse, and sometimes you go for walks and you come back with not much. Other times you go out, you clear your mind and you come back with some rippers. It does teach you persistence and patience, especially when things aren't going right for you. And you can relate that back to real world. You do a multi-day hike and you have this vision of what you want to try and capture, and you get there and the weather's just not right or the conditions are not what you want them to be. Instead of getting the sads about it, you're still enjoying it, you're still out in nature. And I think that relates back to everyday life as well. We don't get everything we want, but you still need to take the small wins and enjoy what you've got. I think it's forgotten a lot these days. I think Peter Dombrowskis said it so well, when you get back out into nature, you get back to it, you get back home. We spend so much time in these concrete jungles. To get out here and enjoy it is pretty special. So in one sentence, I'd say it's a point of getting back to what we are as people and humans, is just getting back to nature.
Welcome down to episode 163 of the Down South Photo Show with me, Brendan Waits, here in Ocean Grove, Victoria, Australia, and the guy on your other screen or in your other ear if you're listening to the podcast. It's Cam Blake in Hobart, Tasmania, Australia. Hello, Cameron.
Good morning, Brendan. How are you today?
Is it morning?
Well, it's a magenta-y sort of start to the day.
It's your day. That's right.
No, the sun rises differently down here.
I'm just saying my background needs a refresh, but we'll sort that out at some point. How are you?
All right. I'm going all right. Just on the road to recovery, as you would know.
That's been nearly a week now.
It's been 6 days since I had the triple hernia operation. Yeah, it's going all right. It's sore, and as I just said off air, a bit sore and tired, but here I am putting in the hard yards for everyone.
Now, you don't know this, but everyone has just been treated to a wonderful video production at the start of the show.
Oh, of my operation? That's weird.
That you released during the week with your friends from...
Oh, yes.
What company was it?
Mountain Designs, Anaconda Mountain Designs, and what are they called? Varigi Studios, which is Matt and Harrison. That was the shoot we did up in the Tarkine back in January, I think it was. So
fantastic.
Yeah, it's come up a treat. Looks good. Makes me look somewhat professional. Amazing. They're geniuses.
It did come up really well. I was super impressed with it, and it was also from a purely self-indulgent perspective. It was cool because I knew a lot of the locations, so that was cool.
Well, Yeah, that's the other thing. They certainly made those locations come to life. And one thing I learned about that shoot was, like us photographers, videographers are looking for the right light as well. And
That's right.
you put anything in front of the right light, and it sometimes looks half decent. So,
Well,
there we were.
no, come up really well. So,
So is that the intro? Is that the intro to the show?
Yeah, that's already happened. You didn't
Wow!
see. That's just.
I've shared some other photos with you this week. They're not getting shared, are they?
Depends on how much money you've got. Let's have a quick look at
Just
a
remember,
photo of the week.
I've just got photos of you too. Remember?
It's only a couple, and you've got a very good video of me that will never see the light of day.
I've got multiple videos of you.
There's one in particular.
I watched it the other day. Yeah.
Photo of the week. This is mine. I'm putting it up.
Cool. You go first.
Where's that, Cam?
Oh, that's bright.
Close.
Myrtleford.
Well, it's shot from
Harriettville?
That's shot from the top of Mount Buffalo.
Oh, it is too. Yes, I know you are.
Yeah. So that was BFOP a couple of years ago, and yeah, it's one of those shots where we talk about this all the time, where you go back through your photos and go, yeah, actually I like that one. I don't know why I haven't shown that one off a bit more. I quite like it.
It almost looks like it's autumn colours, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's October.
It's October.
And there's the horses down there to give you a bit of a scale, and then it's almost like one of those tilt shift ones, like a bit of miniature action with
they were all. Remember them being all the rage? They used to be cool to do when you used to go and barrel on the Yarra City walk. You'd do it with a city block and stuff like that. I used to love doing that.
That's right. They went the way of HDR, like we were talking about last week.
But they were so much cooler than HDR.
They were. You can still. I think there's actually a filter you can add now. Don't most Olympus cameras have it built into their art modes?
They do. The diorama or something it's called.
That's what it is. Yes.
I was going to call it diaphragma, but it's not diaphragm. It's diorama.
Diarrhea.
It could look like Can you do a diarrhea shot? No, you wouldn't do it. That wouldn't work.
That's right, folks. I'm 52 years old. Want a child?
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. So that was just another example of big zoom landscape. A lot of fun when you're in the right location.
I reckon I know where that is. That lane, that little bit of trees there, because we were up there the other day.
Yep.
And I took a similar shot that had a row of trees like that. So I reckon it's probably the same region. I think it's out in the Buckland Valley is where you're looking down into.
That's more than likely. I can't remember exactly the direction I had the camera pointing, but it feels like Buckland Valley vibes. I'm going to throw a photo up of yours. Sorry to everyone who's listening to the show and doesn't get to see our photos of the week, but bad luck.
They can if they want to. They've just got to jump.
They can jump onto our YouTube channel and check it out.
YouTubes.
What do we have here, Cameron?
This is actually, would you believe, funny you put your photo up, this is from Mount Buffalo. There you go. The other day we had a beautiful sunset over the cathedral, and as the colour was all changing, I turned around like, oh, look how good that little crescent moon is, or whatever that moon is. Someone will correct me, that phase of moon. And then that's the Melbourne, the Sydney plane route. So I thought, I'll wait and see if I can get a plane. I actually wanted a plane to go right across it, but it just didn't happen. So I had to zoom back out a bit. But I just thought it was a nice colour, nice little, play on shapes and lines and stuff like that. Pretty minimalistic, but yeah, it was pretty cool. There was like I said, I would have loved a plane going through the moon, but maybe another day. But it was good seeing.
Pretty minimalistic. My goodness, I don't think you can get any more minimalistic.
Well, how many pixels? That's a 20 megapixel file. There'd be only maybe 1,000 pixels used. Wouldn't be many, would there?
Not a lot of active pixels in that one.
No, there's not, is there? So but it's always, sometimes good. You do like behind you is that beautiful rock formation of the cathedral, and I'm turning around shooting the other way because something else is going on. So and the sunset was catching the contrails of the plane and things like that. So you don't always have to shoot the hero. You can always find other stuff as well.
No, absolutely. And I like it. It's good. Thanks. Good. Very good stuff. We're going to do something a little different, Cam. Since we're throwing photos up on the screen, I asked some of our participants who came with us on our Murray Mallee tour last month if they wouldn't mind me throwing a few of their photos up on the screen, which I thought we would do for two reasons. One, to show people what you can achieve coming with us on one of our workshops, but also so we can do a bit of a critique and we can have a look. Now, full disclosure, you haven't seen these photos.
No, I've been under the knife.
That's true. So I'm going to let's start with
You got to tell me whose they are, because I critique if I know who they are, like, differently.
So you're not
Don't
going
you? Don't you?
Maybe I won't then.
Don't tell me whose they are. Let's just rip them to shreds.
Here we go.
Okay.
Look at that.
Right.
Now,
Okay.
I reckon this was on night 3.
Oh, yeah, that's that.
No, maybe it wasn't night 3.
Was that other lake out of Nile West?
No, because that night we didn't have any cloud. So I can't even remember where this might have been night 1 actually. So
Right. Okay.
yeah, it would be. It's night 1. This is when we were out at Tyrrell for the sunset. And
Right.
this person has obviously wandered off to find a little bit of foreground interest.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Who's
I do remember that sunset now.
Who's going first?
I'll have a stab at it. I think it's pretty good. It's visually pleasing. There's a couple of things I might change about it, and that is the way that branch is intersecting the horizon. I'm not so sure about. I would probably maybe just get a fraction lower to maybe lift the branches on the right up higher into the sky.
Yeah,
sort of clutching at straws there. It's a bit of a messy composition, but that's what was there. I mean, there's a lot of sort of mess in the foreground there. Whether you could tighten up, I really like the tree though. The trees are a great subject because it's pointing in the 2 different directions like that. I would probably get in closer, lose that little branch that's on the ground in the foreground there, just crop that out, like just get in tighter on the scene.
Yeah,
angle down a little lower. Probably not more than that I would change. Maybe up the exposure just slightly, just to lift the shadows a wee bit more, even if that was done in post, just lifting those shadows a fraction. Really nice sunset, though. Good use of the sunset, and I like the fact that there's a little bit of sun, which is a star technical, I guess, a bit of sun.
That is. It's a big one too.
But yeah, I'd probably just tighten that all up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm pretty similar to you. I think, tightening it up. I think the texture on the tree itself is quite incredible. Yeah. There's, like, you can see there's bits of brown and shadow and grey and stuff on the trunks of the tree. So yeah, I'd crop this in like 20%. I actually don't mind the intersecting branches. Maybe the right-hand branch could be a bit further above the horizon, like you said. And like potentially also that shadow detail could come up a bit. The one thing that's probably undoing it for me is I think they've maybe overcooked the color temperature a bit.
Okay.
On my screen, maybe it's not calibrated, but on my screen it looks really over warm, like a bit too warm. I'd like to see it maybe just a tad less warm. But yeah, I think the hero of that shot's the gnarliness of that tree. So at the moment it's sort of playing somewhat of a hero, but I think if you cropped it in a bit, even like I said, take a meter step forward and get that in there, and all the decaying bits of wood around the base of it are really cool as well. So, but yeah, it's a nice shot. It's good. It's exactly what we saw. Yeah,
that's right. And you're right. Now that you mention it, the warmth, I think I know what they were trying to achieve, because it's almost like it's dusty.
Yes.
I think, but yeah, maybe that was peeled back a little bit, probably just to bring that green through a little bit more. Because I remember those little shrubby things on the ground do actually have a bit more density to their green, which might have looked a bit better. But look, overall, I think it's pretty cool. That's from number 1 ticket holder.
Is that from Mel?
That is from Mel.
Oh, well, let me start again.
In that case,
it's crap. Deleted. No, everything stands. I think, it's got the potential to be really good if it just a bit more cropping in, especially around the left-hand side where that sandy bit is in the bottom left-hand side. Like, that's sort of a bit wasted to me. But yeah, get a bit closer.
And the only other thing I would say is the positioning of the tree. It's not center, but it's not far enough to the right, so it's kind of in that no man's land area. Yeah. But yeah, geez, we're really clutching at straws there. But overall, good job though.
He's never going to buy us a beer again, is he?
I think you already did this right. Let's have a look at this one. Yeah, that's interesting. It's got a beat and we can dance to it. I'll let you go first on this one.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I like the big sky. So the first thing my eye goes to is the little sand hills, which I don't mind. They're pretty cool. Got some nice light on them. But then my eye seems to draw down to the bottom of the frame, not up into the sky. So the only real thing I would do to this is just crop it differently. I would probably take about 3/4 of that dark sand in the foreground and just wipe it, and just have the bottom of the picture being a little bit of that brown sand, the white sand hills, and then that big sky. I think it's going to help the sky really separate. But yeah, I know where that is, and I know that day because we had those really cool clouds that were sort of backlit a bit on the sky. But I like it. I think it's just maybe just a different ratio crop. So not necessarily cropping in closer, but just get rid of, about an inch of that foreground off the bottom, and then I'm happy. Everything else looks good.
If I remember rightly, we got there, the clouds started to put on a bit of a show, and then it all got quite overcast. I think we lost.
Yeah, we had that sort of stormy stuff coming in from the southwest. I think it was.
That's right.
But yeah, and the other way as well. Even shooting into the sun, the sun was sort of like backlighting these fluffy clouds, and they look pretty good. But yeah, that'd be a light change. I just find my eye gets lost in that bigger dark brown stuff in the foreground. That's all.
Well, I'll tell you where my eye goes to straight away, and that's the beautiful dark cloud right in the center, just above the hills there, which says to me that this might work as like a 3-to-1 panoramic crop, losing a fair amount of the sky. I think if you did that, it might bring balance back to the foreground, maybe. So I'd like to probably see it maybe just with a really cool panoramic crop just above that dark cloud that's in the middle of the frame.
Yeah.
And I also think maybe bring the exposure back, maybe just a stop particularly on the hills there. They look a little overs. And again, that could be my monitor or the way it was processed, but it looks like there's a little bit of, probably not, but it does look like it might have clipped a little bit with the highlights there. But otherwise, I like it. And again, this was use of, what we had there, and it is a stark environment there. So I think it's been done pretty well. That was done by Julie, that one.
Julie. I might be seeing Julie tomorrow, actually.
There you go.
Funny enough. The other thing that could work with that is a square crop.
True. Yes, that's true.
Just looking at, if you take the sides of it out a bit, and then it looks like a slide film almost then. But
could be too. But I like it. All right. Yeah. And then we're going to show a third one. We might even do this again next week or the week after, but I got this one.
Look at that. Look at it loads up on its own, and wow. All right.
I think
you, sir.
Well,
is this yours?
I really liked the way the salt folded like that. And I'm still yet to get a decent explanation as to why that happens. Right. I really like it. Like, there was so much of it too. There was areas when we shot the sunrise there, pretty much in spot on that location there, you're getting some really nice contrast with that folded salt level.
Yeah.
I like this, but I would almost completely lose the sky in this shot. I would probably angle down, so just tilt the camera down more to get, and then it becomes a lot more abstract. When you crop out an horizon completely in a landscape shot, it has that effect of, well, you don't know where the horizon is anymore. It can add a bit more intrigue to the photo. I love the way it's captured though, because it's got a leading line that sort of disappears off in the distance there. The color's good. I mean, that's true. I reckon that's pretty true to life color. Wouldn't you agree, Cam?
I actually thought it was a little bit dull in light and color.
Yep.
So my feedback was going to be, I think the foreground can be brought up a bit more.
Yep.
And maybe a bit more contrast. But I do like your idea of maybe even taking a third of that sky off and having it point down more and try and get more of the details, the cracks and the salt and stuff like that. But to me, on my monitor, it sort of needs to be a bit brighter. But then the sky is quite bright. So you can sort of see right at the top of the middle of the sky, it looks like it's losing a bit of detail in the clouds there. Mm-hmm. So maybe the sky can come down a little bit, but the foreground can come up. It sort of looks like dirty salt to me, where it should maybe be a bit more, even though it's not really, but maybe try and make it a little bit more brighter, whiter, sort of salt lakey feel.
Yeah.
That's
It
a
did
lot of.
feel like on the top of those ridges that the salt was white.
Yeah, yeah,
And that gave you that nice pastel contrast, which is sort of captured there.
yeah,
But you're right, it could be a little brighter.
yeah. But again, that's personal choice.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Always is.
Whose is that one?
Cool. Oh, sorry, that's Felicity's.
Oh, right. There you go.
Nice work, Flick.
Yeah.
And we may be seeing a little bit more of Felicity's work on the channel at some point in the near future.
Oh, so you announcing something?
Watch this space. She doesn't even know that yet.
Don't we have a special guest coming up next week?
We do. We'll have a guest next week because we're sorry, my laptop's frozen. We'll be away next week. Where will we be, Cam?
Down on the Great Ocean Road.
Yeah.
Is there a Great Ocean Road song?
There should be, if there's not.
The Great Ocean Road, we'll be down there with 16 million other people.
And as it says on that ticker right there is one place left.
So this comes out Friday, 5 o'clock. If you can be down at Apollo Bay.
Yep.
At what, lunchtime?
Oh, no, you don't need to be in Apollo Bay till about 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Monday.
On the Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Just bring cash. Rock up.
Cash and beer.
Cash and beer, rock up. More cash than beer if you don't mind. But yeah, no, if you want to come along, there's one spot left. Shout out to us over the weekend and we'll slit you in a spot.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Imagine we got someone at that last minute.
Well, we could. You never know. It's a great spot for a photo tour, that's for sure. So, yeah, we'll be down there next week. We also have one spot left on the
single
Tarpon
spot
trip now. Is that right?
That is correct. 15th to the 20th of August. We spend 3 days in the Tarkine, 3 days at Cradle Mountain. Doesn't get much better than that, really.
No.
So, yeah, that's got one spot left. I think that spot will sell in the next week. I've had a few inquiries about that, and I can see the little statistics of who's looking at what online, and people are checking it out. So don't stuff around too much. You may miss out, and then you'll have to wait till next year.
And we have an announcement to make about workshops.
That was a very quick announcement today, wasn't it?
Well, it's about time. We have been talking about this one for quite some time.
Yes.
In fact, we probably wanted to do it last year and this year, but that's all right. It's happening in 2026. Cameron.
Drum roll. We are going to do the east coast of Tasmania.
Woo-hoo!
So think of the Bay of Fires, think of Wineglass Bay, think of Bicheno, think of Swansea, think of the beautiful forests that are there along the coastline as well, like St. Columba Falls and the Blue Tears, where they have Derby, the mountain biking mecca of Tasmania.
Should I bring my bike?
So, tell you what, you can do the Blue Tears down into the Bay of Fires.
All right. Well, I'll meet you all down at the bottom and we'll take photos. Sounds good to me.
I think it takes about 3 hours from the top down the bottom. We'll drop you off and then we'll meet you down there.
Takes a normal ride for 3 hours.
Apparently it's pretty wicked. So we have 8 spots on that. We're going B8 on that one. And it's March 27th to 31st. So it's 4 nights, 5 days. We spend 2 nights in St. Helens and then another 2 nights in Bicheno. Nice, comfortable accommodation, nice and close to everything. Minimal driving, not too many hours of driving once we get on the East Coast. But I've been getting lots of inquiries about the East Coast through my normal workshops. So it may fill up once people see it's out there. And Bay of Fires have got all that red lichen on the rocks, and Wineglass Bay, is good. You don't have to be a bloody mountain goat. There's some easy walks. The hardest walk on it's probably going to be the Wineglass Bay Lookout, which is a steady up, but it's a pretty easy up. But you don't have to go all the way up to get good views either. So that's on sale now on www.dsps.com.au.
And for those of you wondering, that is a solid week before Easter 2026, just so you guys know.
I'm glad you checked that because I didn't look at that.
There's just so much you were talking there. I went, did we look if that was?
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't, but it is.
It was all planned. It's so hard, isn't it? Like,
it's a full week before Easter.
If it's not Easter, it's bloody long weekends. If it's not long weekends, it's school holidays. If it's not school holidays, it's some festival in the region that you've never heard of that's on when you're there. There's a lot that goes into organising it, a lot of which we don't look at.
We just drop these dates, and then someone goes, "Hey, did you guys know that that's actually?"
Yeah, did you know that it's Christmas Day?
Yeah, that'd be. Yeah, we should run a workshop from the 24th of December to the 31st.
What about a New Year's Eve workshop?
Sure, why not? Hey, we're going to do our one-day workshops again next year.
Nah, stuff them.
Yeah, fair enough.
We always do. Or do you want to come down to Tassie and do them?
Oh, let's get feedback.
Tassie, I think Tassie's hard because, well, not really, but it just stays so bright down here. Like, it's 9 o'clock dark where we are up there. By the time we get down here, it's going to be 9:45 by the time we get home.
That's right. It's a long
makes it a really long day.
But there is always scope for chucking a one-day, like a you and me one-day workshop at the end of a tour or the start of another tour or something like that. So we can work that out.
All right. Sound like you got your brain turned on there.
Not quite. I want to talk about skills, Cameron.
Well, I'll just check out for a couple of hours then, shall I?
Yeah, that's right. I'll just
run this one on your own.
There we go. How's that? That better?
Even better.
No, we're going to talk about upskilling in particular, and it's an area that I'm interested in because I've found over the journey that I am far from, and I don't think anyone is the complete photographer. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Glenn Lavender.
No one wants to be him.
No. I don't think anyone out there is the complete photographer. And what I mean by that is, an example. I mean, I did a shoot last week, and for someone's business, and it's the kind of stuff I don't really do much of, but I know the owner of the shop. She's lovely. She supports my business, so I thought I'd help her out and do some new photos for her website.
Yeah.
And it was fine. Like, I got some nice shots, but while I was doing it, I was like, man, I haven't done this for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And that little bit of panic that comes over you, it's like, do I actually know what I'm doing here?
Yeah.
The old imposter syndrome.
What did I do in 2006 when I did a shoot like this? Yeah, that's right. I wound the film on. That's what I did. Yeah, it is funny like that. Like, I've sort of done a bit of everything along the way, but never an expert at any of them. But yeah, you do that sometimes. I've been there where you sort of go to and you've got to act professional because they've employed you to do it. And you sort of get there and you're like, yeah, cool. No, yeah, we can do this, we can do that. And then they sort of leave you to it. And you're like, shit, okay. I've talked the talk now. I better probably suit up and do what I have to do. But
well, there's also the expectation as well. So this has actually happened to me a couple of times where I'll give you an example. So I was I don't mind talking about this. Not that these people don't watch this show anyway. I got asked to do photos of the Ocean Grove Golf Club. Do you remember when I did that last year?
Yes, I remember the big project. Yes.
Yeah, it was fine. Like, it was a big project. They wanted a lot of shots. It's not a massive golf course, but it's, they just wanted some new shots for their website, and that's fine. No worries. So of course, I was just told they need them by a certain date, and I thought, okay, it's a golf course. No worries. I'll go and take photos of a golf course. And I got out there and I was taking a few photos, and and then I crossed paths with one of the people that were involved with the website redevelopment, who happened to be the president at the time of the golf club. And I said to him, well, what do you need? What are you looking for? And his answer was, well, you're the photographer. You work it out.
No.
Now,
sound advice.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because it's like, if you wanted to build a house, for example, would you go to a builder, and if they said, what would you like in your house? And you just said, well, you're the builder, you work it out.
Yeah.
Like, there's not many professions where you can say that and get away with it. And I'm not sure why people think photography is one of them.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I guess the comeback for me would be, well, okay, if I take these photos and you don't like them, just remember that's what you said.
That's right.
Because if they give you a creative license to do whatever you like, then that's fine, as long as they're happy to accept the outcome.
Yeah.
But it does make the job easier if they give you some guidance, or if they come to you and say, look, this is the last lot of shots we got done by John Smith, and we like these, but we sort of like these ones better, or we like this lighting or this feel. then that gives you a bit of a guide. But just to throw it out there and say, well, you're the photographer, hop to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. It was interesting because surprise, surprise, guess what happened? I didn't get the shots that they wanted. And it wasn't so much that they wanted collectively, it was that this guy wanted.
Right.
And so when I asked him for some guidance, it was like nothing was forthcoming. So then I had to go out and shoot it and then show him the photos. And then the guidance came. You know what I mean? And it was like, and I said, okay, give me an example of what you're looking for. And then he showed me a website of another golf club in country Victoria. Yeah. And great, there were all these options for me. Like, all right, that's the look that you're going for. Okay, fine. And when you think about it, you think taking photos of a golf course should be easy. It's actually not. It's actually trickier than you think. Yeah. You know, you've almost got to be a member there, or you've got to have played it a few times to understand the angles and look at it not only from a photographer's point of view, but from a golfer's point of view, and what appeals to other golfers about that course. Yeah, so, what's going to put the golfers on the course there? Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, I think there's a bit of a joint responsibility if you're doing some corporate or commercial work, is that the client needs to come to you with some sort of vision of what they like you said, examples, or we want exactly this style. We want black and white. We want high contrast, whatever it might be. If they give you that directive, then it's on you to sort of create that. And if you don't do that properly, then, you know, there's a problem there. But if you don't get any direction and they sort of leave it up to you, they can't really come back on it too much without wasting more time or making themselves look a bit silly. So, like I always say, whenever I do a commercial job, I ask that exact question. So, do you have any examples of what you like? Is there another business that's similar? What do they do? You know, obviously we don't want to copy what they're doing, but we can make our own little spin on it. And and you do, sometimes you get marketing managers and you get, I guess, creative managers who go, I don't know what we want. Yeah. And that's where you probably need to sit down and say, all right, well, before we even start this, let's get some examples up here. So at least on the same fairway, so to speak. Yeah, that's right. And we can move forward from there. But it's upskilling, and that's communication's a skill. That's for sure. Like it is. And then I find that in photography and probably in life in general, but in photography in particular, communication's key. Because when I went to shoot this place the other day, which was another retail outlet in Ocean Grove, the lady that I was shooting for was no problem, but her husband was there, and I got the vibes off him that, hey, you're the photographer, you know, you work this out. But you know, they're in a shop I'd only stood foot in once before, and then all of a sudden you've got to find the angles, you got to shoot what they and you've got to think on your feet really quickly. Anyway, this all revolves around this little topic we've got this week of upskilling. And there's ways that you can help yourself to upskill. I find photographers that I see regularly, so people at BFOP or people on our tours or people coming to my shop and print photos regularly, good amateur photographers who aren't necessarily selling their work, generally seem to shoot pretty safely and shoot pretty much the same. They get in a little comfort zone and they shoot the same stuff regularly. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I also do sense a little bit of frustration from some of them. Say, this is good, but it's a very quick way to fall out of love with photography is to keep doing the same thing over and over. Yeah. So I reckon it's handy if you can set yourself a few goals as a photographer, because it will help you holistically. So it'll help you across the board. And the number one thing that I reckon you can do is try a genre of photography you have never done before. Yeah. And it could be something really left field too. Like, I mean, it doesn't have to be macro or, portrait work. Put your hand up to shoot a wedding, or even if you're just shooting it as a bee photographer.
No, don't do that. Bloody hell.
I'm not saying the photographer, but if you've got a friend.
There's the deep end. It's full of sharks. Just go jump in that deep end and do a wedding. Yeah.
No, if you've got a friend who's getting married and they've already got a photographer, ask them if they wouldn't mind if you would, get involved in it and take some photos for that sort of thing. Or I use this example a lot because it happens at BFOP, and they did a bondage session photography workshop, which was
I don't know if it's called bondage.
I think it was.
Was it? No, isn't it that Japanese rope tying up stuff?
It was bondage, Cameron. Let's be honest. Come on, they're just putting nice words in front of it, but that's what it was. It was a bondage photography session, and it was fascinating. Like the light was amazing. The way they set it all up was great.
You can't call it bondage.
It is.
It's got a special name.
Yeah, bondage.
Stop.
Yeah, sorry, I've got to stop you laughing. You're injured. But yeah, doing something completely out of your comfort zone, but also setting yourself some goals as well. So, like little challenges, like, hey, for this entire week, I'm going to shoot nothing but insects.
Yep.
Yeah, something like that.
For some people, that's every week.
That's right. Might be our guest who's coming next.
Yeah, and look, I think it's good. Like one thing I always say to people as well, especially on the workshops and trips, is like I think the better way to upskill yourself with anything that we do, like, if we played golf every day of the week, we'd get better at golf. If we play a musical instrument every day of the week, maybe not. But if you practice enough, I think just the practice is good upskilling. And then when you start practicing, like you said, you'll get some photographers that sort of grow out of the genre that they like. So those sort of intimate or amateur photographers that come in and bring the photos in, they keep doing the same shots of the same garden of the same flower. If you keep doing that often enough, you're going to get a bit bored with that. And then you will evolve into things like macro or portraits or landscape or whatever it is. But I think, sort of challenging yourself with a different genre or a different lens. Go out with a different lens for a whole trip.
That's a big one.
Shoot black and white for a whole trip or whatever it might be. Just change the norm of what you do, and you'll learn really quickly on the job what works and what doesn't work with what you're doing.
I seem to remember when we did the Tarkine last year, you only shot him square black and white or something?
Yeah.
Did you shoot on square as well? Or
no, it was just black and white, and then we got that massive aurora, and I went, oh shit. So I did a black and white aurora. But you know what? It got traction because people hadn't seen a black and white aurora before. So, but it totally makes you shoot differently. So, for example, people listening to this, you're going to go out on the weekend, or you might, like I know Luke, good mate Luke, who lives in Melbourne, Luke guiding on the Overland Luke. He's like, I'm going to go to Marysville on the weekend. It's meant to be a bit rainy and foggy. He goes, I want to get into the forest and do stuff. Awesome. Just go do that. I would challenge him to say, right, we'll go into those forests and take like an 85mm with you only. So you just don't get the wide angle shot. Try and get stuff where you see things a bit differently. And that's the way I did it. Like every time I go out, I change it up a bit. I'm pretty confident that I can go out and shoot a landscape anywhere, anytime with a wide angle, but with a longer lens or a different type of lens or black and white or something like that. It's a different game. And it challenges you and it taps into more knowledge that you have. And you learn real quickly from the shots you get and the mistakes you make. And yeah, but I think you're right. You said people sort of get in that safe zone.
Yeah.
And I think that's not a good thing to do. And, we'll do it on the Great Ocean Road. We'll get them out of their safe zone a bit.
Yeah.
Trying to get them to shoot something different or a different angle or a different mode or whatever it might be, just to get the cogs ticking a bit.
Yeah. And you're never going to learn if you don't put yourself into those scenarios. But if you really want to roll without a safety net, grab yourself a film camera and go and shoot some film. Shooting film is the best for a pellet cleanser. If you're over it, if you think you want to change your skill level, and I'm not sitting here saying you're only a good photographer if you can shoot film. I'm just saying give film a go because it really does make you think about every shot. There's no question about that. It slows you right down. Every shot's going to probably cost you around $1. So
I was going to say, the good thing about shooting film is that in the boot of your Bentley, there's like a little refrigerator and you can keep the film in the boot because you're going to need to drive a Bentley to be able to afford to shoot film. It's going to cost you a fortune. No, but you're right. Like film's the ultimate. Yeah, I'm like, all those over there too. But no, definitely film's good. Even if you just set yourself at, like the other one I do, most cameras have a flip out screen where you can turn the screen off. I dare you to go out for a day and just shoot everything without reviewing it.
Yeah.
And just shoot everything and don't look at the review screen. So what it does, it teaches you real quickly to look through your viewfinder longer and check your settings and check your edges and check your framing, check your composition, all that kind of stuff. if you don't look at the back of the camera and then get home with 100 shots or 200 shots, do that for a couple of trips out and see how you go, because it'll make a difference. You'll take your time and you'll shoot better.
Yep, 100%.
I dare you, folks, do it, and then share some with us. Double dare you.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. If you've got any tips or pointers on how to upskill, hit us up below. Sometimes camera clubs have, people come in and talk about their photography, but I find with those sort of things, it's hard to get across the actual skill involved. It's almost like you've got to go out with that person. That's another good way to do it too. If you've got someone, a friend of yours or someone in a camera club or someone who is quite good at a genre of photography you're not so good at, go out with them, have a chat with them. And people love imparting their knowledge.
Just ring Brendan any weekend. Brendan will go with it. Just give him a call.
My number is 0417. No. So yeah, anyway, if you want to do some upskilling, get out there and try something really different, like really different, like still life. There's one.
Yeah.
Like a bowl of fruit.
The thing is, you got nothing to lose with digital as well. Like film's different. Like you are shooting film and you got a limited amount of shots. Digital, I actually think it comes back to people being like that safe zone, but I think people get a little bit lazy about the whole thing as well. Like, I could go out and shoot portraits, but I don't know what I'm doing, so I'll just go and take landscapes instead. Like, you got to put yourself out of the comfort zone. Even if you live in a town, doesn't matter where you are, go for a walk around on Saturday morning. There's people out at markets, there's people walking around the streets. See if you can do some street photography, get some really cool shots of people interacting, or market stalls. Or if you see a really gnarly looking old dude, sitting down on the bench, ask him politely, can I take your photo or something? You've got a really interesting face or something like that. Just put yourself out there. And if you do that, it'll help. But if you sit back and don't do that, then you're not going to get any better.
That's a good one, actually. Asking someone if you can take their photo, because quite often you don't want to just take one photo of them. No. You might even want to pose them or position them. That talk about get outside your comfort zone. That's a tough one for a lot of people. It's hard to talk to strangers, but it's really rewarding when you get shots like that. And you'll find. Yes.
I was going to say, whatever you do, there was one example on a workshop. I won't give too much away. There was a workshop we did, and there was a customer of mine, and went up to this attractive young lady and said, "My God, you're hot. Can I take your photo?" And the lady just looked at this person and went, "No, I don't think so." No. And I'm like, no. And I had a words to said person. I'm like, it's probably a better way to do that. Yes, she's a very attractive girl, but doing that probably comes across as a bit creepy. Maybe try example A, B, C, or up to Z different than what you did. And by the end of the trip, they'd actually got some photos of some prettier looking individuals and didn't seem to scare them away. So yeah, it's definitely out of your comfort zone, but
you'll find once you've broken the ice with one person, you'll find it much easier the second time around. Yeah. And look, people can only say no. Like, what does that matter? Yeah. And that's fine. You respect that. No, okay, no problem. Move on. And then so that's a good one. Should we do a deer cam?
There's one there. I haven't read it. Have you read it?
I haven't. Well, let's read it together, shall we? I'll go first. Will we do it word for word?
No, you go. You got the nicer voice.
Deer cam. Have I? Deer cam and Brendan. Now, it's with an O-N. Should I go on?
I didn't even see that either. We cancelled the other one because it had something else, didn't it? What was the other one we cancelled?
Doesn't matter. Dear Cam and Brendan, long-time listener, first time reaching out. I'm only new to photography, less than 2 years. Welcome aboard. Welcome to the club. Do you or have you ever run into negative comments with your online posts to groups, social media, etc.? I've had a few instances now when posting to a few different groups of certain people in the photography industry of just badgering, saying edited with AI, telling me colors and pictures are impossible to get, so it's AI manipulated photos. I just find it disheartening and don't really want to post my amateur photos. Just wondering if you guys have come across this or how to not let it get to you. Thanking you, John. John doesn't say where he's from, but welcome aboard, John. And it's a good dear Cam. What do you think, Cam?
Yeah, look, that happens. That happens quite a lot.
Does it? See, I don't see it as much. Maybe I don't post enough photos.
I think it's settled down over the last couple of years, but it still definitely happens.
Well, John clearly thinks it does.
Clearly happens, yeah. Look, I think if you're starting out and you're new, probably the one thing that is maybe a bit wishy-washy with the start of your journey is your editing. Sometimes you can take a while to find your feet when you're editing your shots, and it's all learning. But it does happen, and people just can't help themselves saying, "Oh, it's AI," or "You've oversaturated this," or "You've over-edited that." Those colors don't look real, whatever. And my advice to people who get that kind of abuse to them is just don't worry about it. These people are just generally grumpy old white men who have used the same camera system for the last 40 years, who still think because they won Camera Club of the Year award, Photographer of the Year award back in 1976, that they still hold credit on the street. Just ignore them, move on. Take the positive comebacks online. If there's a comment there that's a little bit negative and you want to reach out to that person, maybe go back to them and say, "Look, it's not AI, but can you tell me why you thought about that?" Try and get some context to their comments. But I would suggest a lot of times you just be banging your head against a brick wall, because some people are just set in their ways about what editing should be and shouldn't be. It's those classic ones that you see them online a fair bit, like, Cradle Mountain shot out of camera, raw. And it's like, "Oh, why is it right? I don't process anything." Well, the camera's already processed part of it for you anyway. So you're talking shit. So you'll get people that don't want to touch anything. They'll want it raw. Then you'll get the people who spend hours and hours on one image to make it look fanciful and doesn't even look real. And then you got the other people who touch it for 5 seconds and it looks fine. Everyone edits different, John. Just stick to what you're doing. Ignore the haters. Try and learn from the positives that people give you. But it does happen. It's just don't let it get to you. As long as you're enjoying your photography, that's the main thing.
The people I would like to talk to are the people that leave these comments. Now, why?
Do I have to get the beep ready?
What?
Beep, beep.
Why? What does it help? It helps nothing except stroking your own friggin' ego. So stop it. Right?
Yeah.
If you're one of those people that get online and just hammer people for their photos and do it in a really nasty, negative way, you be better. Just be better.
Yeah.
I mean, rewind back to the start of this episode and look at the 3 photos that Cam and I put up that Cam had never seen before tonight, and have a look at the way that we creatively, criticize those images. And we didn't even. They wasn't even criticism. Like, they were great photos. We just said, well, this is what we would do, or how you might be able to upskill, and be able to. And there are ways you can do it without coming off as a jerk. So just, if you do want to comment on someone's photo that you think might be oversaturated, maybe ask the question, "Hey, can you just check, just wanted to see if your monitor is calibrated correctly. I think your colors are slightly oversaturated. Not this is AI bullshit, and your photos look like clown vomit. There's no need for that."
The funny ones are, though, like the guy, I've been on those group sites where someone puts up a shot and you can see, okay, this person's new. They're trying different editing styles out, whatever. And you'll look at it and go, "Oh, that's not the greatest effort, but whatever it is." And then you'll see those comments down below. And then I always do it. I can't help myself, because that's just me. I'll click on that person who's made a comment and go check their work out. And it's like, dude, you're in a glass house that's made of paper thin windows. You shouldn't be throwing any rocks, because your work is shit. Yeah. Compared to this person who started out and you've been in it for 20 years, their work is succeeding yours already. So I think there's usually just a negative Nancy about it. That, like you said, just bear with a sore head. Don't worry about them, John. Send it my way. I love talking to those kind of people.
One way you can, if you are posting, particularly if they're groups on, I'm assuming, did you say social media? Yeah, groups, things like that. If you're doing that, you can put a comment under your photo and say, "I want dead honest critique on this."
If you want it.
Yeah, but even that is not an open door for someone to walk in and abuse you about your photography. You know what I mean?
Maybe that's a bit of a grey area, because if I saw a photo that said, "Please critique this, I want honest critiquing," and it looked like it was a terrible shot, and it looked like it had been done this, I would say your colors look terrible and your editing's really poor and it's not sharp. Like I would be strong in my critiquing,
Yeah, well, that might be where we differ, because I wouldn't use that kind of language. I would be more, you know,
Shit sandwich.
perhaps you need to check your lens calibration. That image isn't as sharp as it could be, or something like that. You know, where you're not just shooting them down. Like there's no, I hate
No.
that crap. And talk about anti-social media that can get in the bin.
Social media
you know,
is shit.
it is, but and just make some suggestions. Perhaps, hey, maybe if you tried doing this, it might help.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what critiquing should be. It's about how can we improve the image rather than just shooting it down. Well, let's have the answers, thanks, and then we'll be right.
I think one of the biggest things I've noticed in my experience is when you're giving some feedback back, saying, "Hey, dickhead, that looks shit," versus, "Hey, mate, I like what you've done here, but there could be some improvements." Just that change of language makes a huge difference.
Encouraging.
Not only in the response from the person you're critiquing, but the overall internet, when people share it around, it seems to be received better if you haven't called them an idiot or something like that.
Yes, no, that's exactly right. So John, the advice I can give you is keep doing what you're doing, mate. And hey, why don't you, John, send us some photos? We'll critique them here on the show like we did off the top.
Have you checked his work? It's terrible. No, just joking. I don't even know John. Sorry, John. It's the medication.
Yeah, we'll blame that. You've got one more week where you get away with that. And then
How long have I got, you reckon? When did you start feeling all right?
No, well, we had different surgeries, mate.
I know, but how long did yours? You had one, I had three. So
yeah, but
I get three times as long done.
You had keyhole surgery. I had open surgery. Open surgery takes a lot longer. So
that was right.
I reckon you'll be good as gold next week. Whereas I'm 4 weeks. So
right. Okay.
I'm just. So anyway, this is not a surgery show.
Do you want to see the scars?
That's right. Exactly. Should we do beer donations, Cameron?
Oh, why not? Yeah.
I'll put them on the screen. That's what we do now. We just put them on the screen.
That's how lazy we've become. Now, someone wrote us a message last week and said, "Hey, I bought a beer."
To do that than just read them out. I'll have you know.
Well, the problem is half the people watching the show can't read, Brendan, so they don't know what this is down the bottom.
That's right, and they take terrible photos.
Whoever we forgot, I think it might have been Susan N. I think we forgot her donation last week. I put another one in there just in case she did. Mel H, not allowed to use that joke anymore. Thanks, Mel. John L, I think that might be John who put in the Dear Cam.
Oh, very good.
Thanks, John. Jenny C, Jill D, and Susan N.
Thank you.
So Jenny C, that's like Jenny from the block, isn't it? Jenny C. Jill and Jill D could be as well.
That's right. We appreciate the beer donations. Beer donations help us fund this shit show that we call the Down South Photo Show. So jump on over there, buy us a beer, buy us both a beer, buy us a box of beer. Why not?
Buy us a round of golf on a TPC golf course. It's up to you.
TPC Vegas. Let's go Vegas.
I watched it the other day. They're in the playoffs. I watched it.
I just noticed that you've actually put your top 5 from our Facebook.
Yeah, I have, but you haven't. But they're ready to go for next week, which we're not doing.
Which we'll do the week after, and that's fine. That's these things take time.
Yeah. Okay. So what's going on? We're down the Great Ocean Road.
Yes. So what do we got coming up? So this comes out on Friday. The following Monday, we are off for a 5-day, 4-night adventure along the Great Ocean Road. So looking forward to it. It's going to be good fun. Hopefully the Redwoods play like they did last year. You're going for your
I think
your strike rate alive.
The Redwoods are in the final, aren't they?
Well, that's right.
Question that's completely irrelevant to the show and no one really cares about what we're going to talk about because no one gets this far. When I pick the bus up on Sunday, what time do I have to be down at your house?
You don't have to be down at my house till the next day. So
all right. So I could stay at Mum and Dad's then.
You could stay at your parents' place. Look at us doing admin on the show.
I was just thinking then, like I could stay there.
You have the option. You can come to Ocean Grove, or you can stay in Greensboro, and then come to Ocean Grove.
I'll see how I'm feeling. If I'm feeling like I don't want to drive,
well, that's true. You might not want to travel very far at all. You might just want to pick up a bus and go and chill, and that's fine too. You can do that.
All right, cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks for entertaining us with that. For those who don't want to know, we're going to get the bus and figure it out when we get there. Exactly right. Should I turn beer donations off now? There we go. Yeah. So next week, are we announcing a guest next week, or are you going to just surprise
Next
people
week.
with that?
Now, because no one listens this far, we can probably announce it.
We
Kelly?
have Stephen Wall on the show.
That'd be good. No, we don't.
If you answer my bloody emails.
We're going to talk all things macro with the wonderful
Oh.
Cheryl.
Are we?
We are. That's going to.
Yeah.
We are breaking the ice. Thank God. We are going to have a female photographer on the show.
Wow. Does she know about this?
I hope so.
Good. I know she's
What's
been
your last
working.
name? Cheryl Davis. Am I saying that right? Davis.
Cheryl Davis Photography, macro photographer. Look it up.
It's not Davies. It's Davis.
Davis, Davis.
Now, I
She
first
has been-
met Cheryl 2 years ago on the overland track,
You did,
And-
yes.
and that's
Yes.
when I worked out that Cheryl really likes macro photography, because Cheryl was looking at all things very close up and for a very long time. So
She does
quite
get stuck.
impressed.
If you let Cheryl do the overland track at her pace, it'd take a year. She wouldn't get through in a year. She'd stop every 30 centimeters. She has been she has been updated. She's about to release a brand new website. So she's been feverishly working on that, knowing that she's going to be on the show next week.
Well, I'm
So-
wondering if it'll be ready and we'll be able to show it off next week. Hopefully, we can.
I think it is ready. Little birdie told me.
Given that I'm actually in our time interviewing her
I know.
tomorrow night, then
I know that.
might-
Yes, I know that. So
Yeah,
I'm not
really
on the
looking
interview.
forward to it.
I'm not on the interview. I'm sitting this one out. I'm doing a talk for a camera club up in Queensland somewhere
Ooh.
tomorrow night.
That's cool.
I can't think what they're called now. It's up near Jarvis Bay or Harvey Bay, up that way somewhere.
Well, Jarvis Bay's in New South Wales, so it might be Harvey Bay.
Victoria, who came on the Great Ocean Road last year. You remember Victoria?
Exactly,
She goes to this camera club, so that's who's invited me.
Yeah, excellent. Nice.
Well, that's exciting. I'm excited to listen to that interview. I think she'll have a lot of cool things to share.
Yeah, so we'll do if those of you who have seen interviews that we do before, we'll ask all the questions. We'll pick the brain of a very talented macro photographer and a very modest macro photographer at that. So,
Don't go easy on her.
Tune in.
Make them really hard questions and stuff like that.
okay, well, I better sit down and write the questions now then.
You know what you should do? You should
Yes.
make them like micro questions. So, hi, g'day, Cheryl. Why?
That's right. Yeah,
What? When?
Just-
Who?
yeah, like really existential, and just leave it there.
Yes.
Just leave it hanging there, and
Yeah,
and
macro
and-
questions.
and soak in the awkward silence. Yes, I like it.
That'll be. She'll love that.
No, we won't be doing that. That'll be no
Cool.
good at all. Cool. All right. I think that's it. I think that's the podcast.
I think it is. I'm going to bed.
All right. Good. This has been episode 163 of the Down South Photo Show. We'll see you for a very special 164 next week that I'm recording tomorrow, but it's coming out next week because YouTube time does my head in. That is all. And bye for now. Say goodbye, Cameron.
Bye, Cameron. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.